We've got Drifloon, the balloon, coming up next. And then after that, probably the longest hunt of my life. But you never know, with the Riolu eggs. So, catch you all next time. Time is the primary motif of Pokemon Diamond. Cyrus seeks to gain control of the temporal Pokemon Dialga, the cover legendary of the game, and references to the passage of time are abundant in places like Celestial Town and Eterna City. And whether you think about it or not, time is an element of every single shiny hunt. There are quick hunts and lengthy hunts and everything in between. For example, the Kanto Safari Zone is a very quick place to hunt, where you can get a shiny check once every 12 seconds or less. And I can't talk about a long hunt in Gen 4 without mentioning the Manaphy hunt, which gets one Manaphy check every 8 to 10 minutes, depending on how you hunt it. It seems obvious to say out loud, but the more time it takes per shiny check, the likelier the hunt is going to take a long, long time. Don't get it twisted though. Starting a long hunt does not automatically mean that it's going to be your longest hunt ever. It could shine first encounter, and then it would be your shortest hunt ever. That hypothetical coin has two sides though. If your hunt reaches odds, or even goes over, you may very well be on the longest shiny hunt of your entire life. It takes some perseverance, distraction techniques, and a big dose of idiocy to stick with the long hunt through to the end. This is my story, my quest to find Riley's gift Riolu shiny. Hi, it's me, the Big Dose of Idiot. All the way back in 2020, I bought my very first DS capture card and embarked on my first ever Dream Team journey. I picked a bunch of different hunts, Pokemon that I really liked that I could also hunt in a variety of different ways. At the time, I was a wee little bit naive
Nature guess.
as a shiny hunter. I had never done a full odds 1 in 8192 shiny hunt before, but I was inspired by some of my favorite shiny hunters on YouTube to try and hunt some of my favorites in my favorite generation. At the time, I didn't put much thought into things like Murkrow being only a 20% encounter chance, thinking that I'd just get lucky and find it after a cool phase or two. 7 phases and 81,000 encounters later, I found that not everything goes to plan when shiny hunting, but the feeling of finally finding it was unmatched. Then the next 3 hunts were all soft reset hunts, even though the type of reset was different each time, with fossil resets, honey tree resets, and overworld Pokemon resets. Those all went by super quickly, even Apom, which went over 14,000. With 3 systems, I was able to fly through encounters. That brings us to this hunt. Lucario was always so cool to me while playing through these games the first time when I was 11 years old, and the fascination continued as I saw Lucario added to Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I always thought his aura mechanic was really cool. And he was really edgelordy, so that really appealed to prepubescent me. Now that we know why we're hunting Riolu, let's talk about gift Pokemon in Gen 4. Not including starters, there are 3 gift Pokemon to receive in Diamond version. There are a couple different ones in Platinum, but since this is a Diamond Dream Team quest, I'll just go over the 3 in Diamond. After you get the National Dex, BB will give you an Eevee, which is a quick soft reset hunt. The other 2 are gift egg hunts. The first is Happiny from a hiker in Hearthome City, and the second is Riolu from Riley in Iron Island. The NPC will entrust you with an egg, and the intended goal was for you to keep it in your party as you travel through the game, and it'll eventually hatch into a cool new Pokemon for you. In this case, however, we will be picking up the egg and immediately hopping on our bike to hatch it as soon as possible. You might be thinking, well, can't you just grab the egg, ride until there's 1 step left, save the game, and just walk the 1 step to hatch it every time and reset it, avoiding the need to ride your bike for thousands of steps every reset? That's a good thought, but unfortunately the stats and shininess of the Pokemon are determined when the NPC gives you the egg, not when it hatches. Now that you know I have to fully hatch a brand new egg every reset, it's basically a given that I'm going to want to optimize every single thing I can about this hunt. And, mercifully, this hunt actually allows for a lot of optimization. Step 1 is to bring a full party to Iron Island the first time going through with Riley. Riley really wants to give you this egg. Like, really wants to. It's kind of scary. He tries to give you the egg without letting you save immediately after the galactic fight, and won't let you decline the egg unless you have no space in your party. So please, bring a full party the first time, it'll save you a lot of time. Once you say no to Riley, you can escape rope out of the cave. I flew to Salation Town and made a space in my party at the PC. I also grabbed 2 very important Pokemon, the first being a Pokemon with Teleport. Outside of battle in Gen 4, the move Teleport will place you in front of the last Pokemon Center you entered. We actually want this to be Salation Town, because there's a very long unimpeded path that cuts right through it, so you can bike up and down without too many button presses. Using Teleport instead of Fly also cuts out a lot of inputs, removing the need to scroll all the way over to Salation Town each reset. The next important Pokemon, and probably the most important Pokemon in the entire setup, is a Pokemon with the Flame Body or Magma Armor ability. Yeah, just trade them in from another game. In battle, Flame Body has the chance to burn opposing Pokemon. But we are way more interested in its outside of battle effect. The naive way to describe this out of battle effect is that it halves the number of steps needed to hatch an egg. But we need to go deeper than that. In order to fully understand this hunt, we need to talk about parallel universes. Egg cycles. Egg cycles. Sorry, I thought it was in another video. Egg cycles are what determines how fast a Pokemon hatches from an egg. The species of Pokemon determines how many egg cycles need to be completed in order to hatch. In Gen 4, egg cycles are exactly 255 steps. When a player has an egg in their party and completes an egg cycle, a function in the code is performed to each egg in the party in order. First, it checks if the egg has 0 egg cycles left. If so, the egg hatches, and no other eggs are processed so that you don't get 2 hatches at once. If the egg isn't at 0 egg cycles left, subtract from the egg cycle count. Here's where Flame Body or Magma Armor comes into play. If they are present in the party, the egg cycle count is decreased by 2 instead of 1, but no less than 0. Like I said before, it doesn't exactly cut the number of steps in half. Instead, the formula is the base egg cycle of the species divided by 2 plus 1 rounded up. I find it best to work with examples, so let's walk through the algorithm with a Magikarp egg. Magikarp has a base egg cycle count of 5, so it's very quick. Let's say we also have a wonderful little Macargo with the Magma Armor ability in our party. So we take 255 steps with our egg, and then on the 255th step, the algorithm runs. It checks if the egg is at 0 egg cycles, which it's not, it's still at 5. So then it subtracts 2 from the egg count, putting it at 3. Then the algorithm continues with every other egg in the party. Since there are none, the algorithm ends. So now we take another 255 steps. The algorithm runs again, and we check if the egg is at 0 cycles. It's at 3, so we continue on to subtract by 2, leaving us with 1 egg cycle left. No other eggs in the party, so the algorithm ends. We take another 255 steps. Since we were at 1 egg cycle remaining, it goes down to 0 and hatches, right? Well, actually it doesn't. If you remember the logic, it checks if the egg is already at 0 egg cycles. This one is still at 1 cycle left, so we continue to subtract by 2. Since we can't go below 0 though, the number of cycles is set to 0. Since there are no other eggs, the algorithm ends. So, one final time, 255 steps. The algorithm runs and sees our egg is at 0 egg cycles, so it hatches. Congrats on your brand new baby Magikarp. As you can see, it took us 5 divided by 2 plus 1 egg cycles rounded up, or 4 egg cycles. 4 times 255 steps is 1020 steps. I know our example only had 1 egg in it, and we will only have 1 egg during this hunt, but I want to give a quick tip if you ever have multiple eggs in your party in Gen 4. You should have the eggs sorted from furthest away from hatching to closest to hatching. This is because the algorithm goes through every egg in order in the party, and if an egg hatches on a completed egg cycle, no other eggs are processed. If the hatching egg is in the first slot, no other eggs get their egg cycles lowered since the algorithm ends with the hatch. Ordering your eggs from farthest to closest to hatching allows each egg to get credit for each egg cycle completed. Because if the last egg is the one that hatches, all the other eggs will have already processed that egg cycle. Now that you understand egg cycles and how they are affected by flame body and magma armor, we're ready to talk about the Riolu egg. Looking at Riolu's data, we can clearly see that it has an egg cycle count of 25. So by applying the formula we just learned, we can divide 25 by 2 and add 1, then round up, giving us 14 egg cycles. And so, the minimum number of steps to hatch the Riolu egg must be 14 times 255, or 3,570 steps. You're probably thinking two things right now. Number one, man, that's a lot of steps. Number two, why did we have to do all that math right there? There's a Poketch app in the game that counts the number of steps that you take. If we just see what it says after the egg hatches, then boom, we know how many steps it takes to hatch Riley's Riolu egg, right? Well, what if I told you all about egg cycles? Because we can actually manipulate the first egg cycle to reduce the amount of steps that we take every reset. This is made possible because egg cycle steps are actually counted even when you don't have eggs in your party. Whoa, I know. There's code in the game to reset your current egg cycle steps to 0 when you receive an egg, but only if it's the daycare man giving you the egg. And the last time I checked, Riley is not and has never been a daycare man. This surprising revelation allows us to do something pretty cool. If we can figure out what step we're in at the current egg cycle when we're next to Riley, we can pre-walk 254 of the 255 steps of the cycle, so that when you pick up the egg and walk one step, it will count as a fully completed egg cycle every single reset. So our new lowest step number is one one-step egg cycle and 13 full 255 step egg cycles, bringing our lowest possible hatch to 3,316 steps. So how do we find out what step we're at in the current egg cycle? Well, the best way I found is to grab the Riolu egg and hatch it while counting the number of steps with the Poketch pedometer app. Record the number of steps when the egg hatches, and take that number and modulo by 255, then subtract by 1. Because remember, we want to get one step away from the egg cycle completing. If you have no idea what the modulo operator is, basically it's just the remainder left when you divide one number by another number. Just Google your number modulo 255 minus 1, and you'll get your answer of how many steps to walk. Conveniently, the elevator right next to Riley doesn't spawn Pokemon, so you can safely walk down your required steps there. Just make sure that your last step puts you next to Riley, and then save your game. Due to mechanics in the game like fly moving your character but not counting as a step, you may not reach Riley on an even step. Just like you saw me walk 132 steps instead of the 133 we calculated. This is totally fine, and it just results in 3,317 steps instead of 3,316. We're just about to finally jump into my actual hunt, but I have one more quick note. Make sure you battle all the trainers on your egg hatching path. Keep in mind that there are 2 jogger trainers that will only battle you in the morning between 4 AM and 9:59 AM. I highly recommend you change your clock to battle them so you don't have to worry about them while hatching your egg. Okay, 13 and a half minutes into the video and we can finally start looking at my hunt. My journey began all the way back on November 5th, 2021. As you can see, my layout didn't have the steps set up yet, and funnily enough, I didn't even know about the egg cycles at this point, so my eggs were not hatching at 3,316 steps. I did have the wherewithal to time myself during this first hatch, and as the time on my bike went on, I began to realize how naive I was to pick this hunt because these are long resets. Eventually though, I got the O on both games. Keep in mind that you will be able to see if Riolu is shiny on the hatching screen itself. And yep, there it is, clocked in at 5 minutes 37 seconds. Now obviously my egg cycle hasn't been optimized yet in this clip, but honestly this is one of my more focused resets. It's really hard to maintain complete focus during a 5+ minute reset. So honestly, even with all the optimizations, the average hatch time is actually closer to 6 minutes per reset due to lapses in focus. With double hunting, this results in a paltry 20 hatches an hour on average. For reference, this is how I'm dealing with this hunt. I basically have to hunch over the desk and keep both hands on the DSs at all times, holding them up, then down, dozens of times. Not the best when trying to multitask. I'm gonna be honest, it was really slow going to start out with, and I got burned out quick. All the hunts in this quest had been really fast, with the slowest one probably being the fossil resets, where I was able to get 300 checks an hour double hunting. Going from 300 an hour to 20 an hour was brutal. It almost felt like I wasn't making any progress. And quickly my attention was diverted to other hunts, most notably Glameow and Shining Pearl, and Minccino and Black and White 2, both of which are huge throwback videos for me. It wasn't until April of 2022 that the fire for the hunt was ignited in me again. Up until that point, I'd done about 600 hatches, which is 30 hours of hunting, and not even a tenth of the way to odds. I probably hadn't touched the hunt in a couple of months. Then, I caught wind that Speed Twister 96 was hosting the 3rd annual Egg Month. Egg Month is an event where the community gets together and hatches full odds 1 in 8192 eggs for an entire month. I was inspired to see so many other hunters doing these longer hunts, and I hopped right back into hatching. It was around this time that I was beginning to understand how to manipulate the first egg cycle, and I was pretty pumped that I got it working. I hunted all month long, getting over 1,000 hatches in the process. By the end of the month though, I had no shiny Riolu to show for all my hard work, and I felt burnt out again. It was at this time I made a decision to start a new Dream Team quest. Some of you may know it as my Fire Red Leaf Green Dream Teams quest. Those hunts took up all of my hunting time for the next year. Trust me, every time I started a new hunt, Riolu was still in the back of my mind. Gonna be real here? The hunt was starting to intimidate me. I didn't even want to boot up the games. I knew that every reset was gonna be long and arduous and use both my hands and all of my attention. So I just fell back into the comfort that Fire Red and Leaf Green provided with the quick hunts. And so, a whole year passed without a single Riolu hatch. As it turns out, Egg Month did wonders for me again. I hopped back into the Riolu hunt in the middle of April 2023 and went absolutely ham. I knocked out another 1,000 hatches in a little less than 2 weeks. For extra motivation, I watched YouTube videos of every other hunter to ever find and document Riley's shiny Riolu. At that point, every single one of them had found it under odds, and that gave me hope that I would find mine under odds too. Huge shoutouts to Ghost Type Mike, John from the Shiny Lads, Jacob Robert, Sleep 133, and Rack High. I highly recommend you check out their shiny Riolu vids. Every single one is a gem. Links in the description. This time after Egg Month ended, I wasn't totally down and out. After a little break, I picked the hunt back up in June and passed 3,000 hatches. I ended up lasting until July, when I finally put the hunt down again, not to pick it up for the rest of the year. When 2024 rolled around, I had one shiny hunting related resolution. I was going to finish all ongoing Dream Team quests. This Diamond Dream Team quest started in 2020, and I was on a mission to close it out. And I had a plan. Once I found my shiny Vulpix in early January, I packaged up all 4 of my DS capture cards to send them off. One I sent to Skyfish Jack, who was going to fix the broken hinge. The other 3 I sent to Poi Pokemon, and he was going to install a controller mod inside all 4 DSs once Skyfish Jack sent the fixed one onto him. While I was waiting for the DSs to come in, I had a great time at Pokemon Go Fest LA with some friends. When I arrived back home, the systems were waiting for me. Huge shout out to Poi and Skyfish Jack. Thank you both so much. With this controller mod, I could quad hunt Riolu, while only doing inputs on a single DS. This not only made the hunt much more comfortable and easier to multitask while doing it, but it also bumped the hatch rate from 20 an hour to 40 an hour, a 100% increase. And let me tell you, I started to grind. I hunted more in the next month and a half than I've probably done in my entire life. So much so that I was standing in the odds by March 22nd. Egg month 2024 was fast approaching again. One thing I intentionally didn't mention earlier is that 3316 is actually not always the lowest amount of steps needed to hatch Riley's Riolu. When the game's source code was leaked back in 2020, we discovered that on certain days of the year, egg cycles are reduced by 10%. Down from 255 steps to 230 steps. Since there's a penalty for this special effect if the internal system date is changed in the last 24 hours, I didn't set the date to these special days every hunting session. However, when these dates came along naturally, I took full advantage, and I was able to hatch eggs in 2,991 steps each reset. Funnily enough, the first day of egg month was a special day. In order to set it up on the special day, you have to walk 230 steps for 3316 games, and 232 steps for 3317 games. To get back to normal once the special day is over, walk 26 steps on the 3316 games and 24 steps on the 3317 games. Egg month was in full swing, but I felt like I already did 2 consecutive egg months with how much time I was spending in this hunt. If you're looking at the encounters and trying to calculate how much time I spent during this hunt, yeah, I can assure you it was a lot. But something I try to stress in my videos is that I always try to make hunting a side activity. So if you think I wasted hundreds of hours on solely doing hatches for this hunt, just know that I lump hunting in with my entertainment time. The distraction techniques I referred to earlier, like being on calls with friends, watching movies and TV shows, and watching baseball. Speaking of baseball, in the middle of April, my wife and I drove up to Anaheim to see my Orioles play 2 games against the Angels. I had a great time. And a familiar face made it onto the Baltimore broadcast. When I got back home, it was back to hunting. 2 more hunters added their names to the Riley's Riolu Hall of Fame since last year's egg month. Relic Andre and Riolu. Relic Andre found all 3 gift egg Pokemon in Sinnoh, with Riolu coming in at a whopping 20,000 hatches. And Riolu found their Riolu during egg month 2024, super under odds. As egg month neared its end, I was getting tired. I was leaving for a 2-week trip to Italy and Greece on May 1st, so I decided I'd just ride out the rest of egg month hunting Riolu. But then when I got home again, I would put it on hold so I could focus on my other Dream Team quests. Who knows how long the hunt would have to be on hold for? Unbelievably, I didn't have to find out.
You don't see that very often. So that's Anthony with his first outfield assist of the year, and it puts Rodriguez on the doorstep of 6 scoreless. He's going to face Gleyber Torres, who has put the first pitch in play both times and is 0 for 2. 6 1/3 scoreless against the Yankees last year in his only start against them. Looking to get through 6 tonight. Torres takes the first pitch. It's a strike.
Shiny Riolu! No freaking way! What the heck is going on? There's not a lot to get me to mute the middle of a very close Orioles-Yankees game. No joke, I've been looking at that exact game, bottom left. I had the biggest feeling it was gonna be bottom left. Oh my gosh. Do I have a nickname? Yes. It's a male. Because he hit a solo home run to lead off the game. Going Gunner. Saving right away. I believe this is on the diamond file that Hershey gave me, that I bought off of Hershey, and he said it's gonna be the game that finds Riolu. I cannot believe this, dude. I leave for Italy in 2 days. No way. All right, huge shout out. I put these on my desk for good luck. Matt, aka Absolblogs, got this for me at Super Smash Con 2022 as a good luck charm for this hunt. And I just got this very recently in the mail from my good friend Tails the Tailor. Little Lucario. I think it's like a finger puppet. I've had this for about less than a week, so I can kind of definitively say that this is 100% the reason why I found this shiny. So, shout outs to them. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I get to play the game again. I'm saving again. Alright, we're gonna actually step off the bike. Go up here. I should probably... So, this is so crazy. Regular old Ponyta. Gunner, the shiny Riolu. Kelsey, the shiny wife.
What?
Exactly. Alright. I'm gonna go... Oh, she's got her headphones. I said, Kelsey, the shiny wife. Shiny. I can't believe this, dog. Alright, I wanna get a nature check, so I'm gonna cut real quick, I'm gonna get some nature guesses, and I will be right back. Alright, we are back. And we're gonna do some nature guesses. I'm gonna guess naive. Of course, that's my go-to. We've got Blue Vactor guessing lax. Trashly guessing modest. Waddy guessing quirky. Gremlin also guessing quirked up. Canned Wolf Meat guessing serious. Coop guessing naughty. Arlie guessing quiet. Catherine guessing lonely. Again, naive. From Riley, and it's brave. That is so cool. I think that's an up attack nature, maybe up attack minus speed. So the minus speed isn't great, but up attack, it's gonna be so good. It's here. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. So yeah, like I said, I went to Italy and Greece 2 days later. I didn't have a good time at all. As soon as I got home, I got right to work editing this video. And then, when the time was right, I evolved Riolu the only way that seemed fitting, by doing a victory lap on the same path I used to hatch all 13,238 Riolu eggs, in order to gain enough friendship to evolve. Alright, this is 30,000 steps taken with the Riolu. This is still like... it's probably not gonna evolve right now. Odds are it will not. All right, let's see. This is 30,000 steps with Riolu. Is it enough for you? 30,000 stuffs, baby! Oh my gosh! That is so, so cool. Regular old Ponyta. Gunner, the shiny Lucario. Look at that freaking thing. I'm gonna run away. No way, dog, no way! Gunner's him! He's him! Please let me run. Oh no. We can get out of this. We can get out of this. All right. Never lost. Never lost. Never lost. It's been an incredible adventure, but it's not done just yet. I have one more remaining member until I finish this dream team. My first ever dream team. See you then.